While we wait for the crew, we'll see what's going on in the world and around the world. We know a number of things are taking place, including in the sports world and everything like that. Unfortunately, my Brewers did not win, so there'll be a game five. I think there's a game five today. As a matter of fact, I know there is between Seattle and the Detroit Tigers. So there'll be two winner take all games, one today and one tomorrow. So we do know that that's going on in the world. And of course, a number of other things are taking place in the world as well. So we'll definitely be talking about those things and seeing what folks have to say about a number of these stories that are taking place around the world and that are of concern to people and all along those lines. So definitely we'll be seeing what folks have to say about a number of these things that are going on and how folks are relating to them and what they are saying about them and all along those lines. And of course, I'll be bringing in my regular crew, hopefully, and they'll be helping me with some of these stories and all along those lines as we learn more about what's happening in the world and some of the things that are taking place, whether it's related to Israel, related to Ukraine and Russia, or related to other parts of the world, including France and other places that are definitely having their own versions of upheaval and all along those lines. So definitely that's something we'll be talking about here on Pod TV, seeing what folks have to say about a number of these stories. And if you've got things that you want to share, definitely would love to hear from you and see what your thoughts are on a number of these stories and how they are into you and all in that space. So definitely something that we always are glad to do here on Pod TV and to see what folks have got on their mind and to see how they are dealing with a lot of these various issues that are going on around the world. So definitely always good to hear from folks and hear their reactions to a number of these stories and all along those lines. So like I said, that's just some of the things that we'll be talking about. Hoping to have Rick Rosner and others join me very shortly, and we'll get their input on a number of things that are taking place in the world as I try to get to the news stories and see what's going on and all along those lines. And I know usually Sasha Star, Jacoby, and others join me on these particular mornings as we address a number of these issues that are taking place in the world and what's going on with them. We know that Trump is trying to get that Nobel Peace Prize, and we'll see if that happens or not. And I did see that a loyal Chicago fan had passed away at the age of 106. So many people that follow sports know that Mama Jean or Jesselyn Jean, I'm trying to think of her last name, was a regular at a lot of the sporting events there in that area and would oftentimes be at the events. I know that even one of our show hosts oftentimes talks about her and her memories of her since she went to Loyola, and that is the lady that hosts our Good Ships Happen show and all along those lines. So definitely an icon in that sense has gone on to the ancestral ground and all along those lines. So definitely it'll be interesting to see folks' reactions to that as time goes on and more people learn about it. It might even be mentioned in today's episode of Good Shit Happen. Good Ship Happens, because I know that she is a regular watcher of that sports team and definitely follows that legacy individual. And like I said, I think she lived to be 106, if I remember correctly, and all along those lines. So definitely we might have some people coming in talking about that and talking about other things as well. But right now, we get ready to get to one of our commercials, maybe even a couple of these commercials, and then we'll be back with some more news, and hopefully some of the guys will be here as well. But we're going to try to get to some of the news items as well. But definitely right now, we're going to have a little bit of a conversation around some of the advertisement that I need to get to as well, because no media, whether it's nonprofit or profit, can survive without the support of its sponsors. So right now, let's check this out as it's one of our major sponsors.
One of the things that business owners forget a lot is to prepare for their own retirement.
Hi, my name's Nick Palavita, and today I'm with a very special guest, a certified financial planner, a chartered retirement plan specialist, and president of National Pension Partners, Max Culiet. Max, Tell me what you do at National Pension Partners.
Well, Nick, we help successful small businesses and professionals put together retirement plans that provide them the maximum retirement benefits and big tax deductions at the same time.
Well, how do you do this?
Well, we get on an internet conferencing system with the client. We review their goals, what they want to accomplish, and then put together strategies to help them in implementing a retirement plan that benefits them, not everybody else.
Well, that sounds really good, but how much does this cost?
Well, it's really not bad because the first consultation is free. That allows us to go through and discover whether this strategy works for that business and for you as the business owner and helping you maximize your retirement.
Well, Max, how do we get this free appointment?
It's really pretty simple, Nick. You can either go to our website below or call us at 877-252-1692, and then we can set up a time with either myself, Nick, or one of our other retirement plan specialists, another CPA or advisor in the office to go over this with you and make sure it fits for you.
Hi, my name is Lewis Haupt. I work with National Pension Partners, and I work with businesses to allow them to put the maximum away that they can for themselves and to save taxes.
Hi, I'm Brad Coyle, and I'm the brokerage manager at National Pension Partners. We're always analyzing plan fund choices in order to ensure the participant's success.
If you want more information on how we can help you and your business put more money away in a retirement plan than you ever thought possible, contact us at the website below or call us at 877-252
Good morning. Hello. Are we getting sound?
Hello, I can hear you.
Okay, good.
What's up? What's interesting today?
This is day 2 of the ceasefire, though, according to Twitter, Israel was maybe still firing at some people. I don't know. What do you hear from Israel and Gaza?
They're still waiting until at least one hostage will be released. So far, none. So all these agreements and talks mean very little to me, for example. I'm skeptical on all that, either even at the root of the agreement or following up further. Although I must admit I would give more than 50% chance that the hostages indeed will be released, and Israel has an obligation in return to release 250 murderers and unspecified number of a couple thousand, I don't know how many, 20,000 or maybe 200,000 of all kind of Palestinians that are, no, I think it's up to 2,000 that they were captured by Israelis. Listen, let's hope that at least this will be accomplished. If this will be accomplished, then the rest is not so interesting anymore. Because once the hostages release, all that is becoming absolutely different exercise because of all these insinuations that Hamas will lay down their weapons or so on. It's not going to happen. And if that's not going to happen, then Israel will have to really start decimating Hamas or the remains of Hamas or whatever there is left. We'll see how it will play. But let's hope that the next 3 days or so, the hostages will be released.
So this is Nobel Prize season, and I feel like the rush to get the announcement out is part of the push to get Donald Trump the Nobel Peace Prize. Which
No doubts about that. No doubts about that. Because what he's doing now, why the moron couldn't do 3 months ago, 6 months ago? Why? Why he's doing that now? The answer is clear. He wants to grab the fucking Nobel Prize. You know what? I don't mind to have him every year, as long as he will be alive, to give him Nobel Prize winnings. Give it to him, but on one condition, that he will resign as president of the United States. And this is my point, which I made already many times, that the Democrats have to hold on to the shutdown and make a list of demands if they will agree to stop the shutdown. And number one on the list is resignation of Trump, resignation of Mike Wilson, and all these Medicare issues and many, many other things. Put it on the table and walk away, go to Hawaii or somewhere else, enjoy your life, and keep shutdown going.
Yeah, I think this is day 9 of the shutdown, and so a lot of military personnel aren't getting paid. Vegas, the bookies think it is more likely than like a few days ago that the shutdown will be over by November 1st. Though I've seen no sign of that. I don't see any negotiation going on.
No, what they're doing is they're pressuring Democrats by holding these votes. And of course, they're losing, of course, every vote. And the Democrats, they hold, I believe, was it 47 votes. And they keep it doing so far. Well, they had a few just people who changed their view. Senator Futterman, I think, one of them, a few others. But that's it. Right now it's 47. They need to get 7 Democrats, one way or another. Bag, curse, bribe, just anything to get 7. It's much more difficult.
Oh, I have breaking news. So apparently the Nobel Peace Prize has been announced, and it did not go to Trump.
Well, who did it go to?
I don't know. I'm clicking on to Venezuelan leader Maria Corina Machado, a key figure in Venezuela's pro-democracy movement.
So
that's going to make Trump even. That's going to make Trump even angrier because it went to somebody from Venezuela, and we know how he feels about Venezuela.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, she was not on that boat that was destroyed by Trump. But you know what? Think about something. How they could award a Nobel Peace Prize a person who is fighting with his own people. He started the war against American people. Why would that person be awarded a Peace Prize? Think about it. A person who destroys a Colombian boat in the waters of Venezuela, or even in neutral waters, it doesn't really matter that much. U.S. is not at war with Colombia, right? So this mere act, now suspecting that they had marijuana or some other substances on the board, but you cannot prove it now since the boat was destroyed and everybody was killed, whoever was on that boat. How the person who initiated that could be awarded Nobel Peace Prize?
Yeah, so Norway is in charge of the Peace Prize. Sweden does all the other prizes. Peace Prize comes out of Norway. This article says that Norway is bracing for increased tariffs from Trump in revenge for not getting
sure.
I don't think that Norway would care about any Trump's tariffs. The country that has, for its size of 5 million people, they have $3 trillion, their own sovereign fund. And do you know that every person in Norway receives a check? The children, the elderly people, it doesn't matter what you're doing. They're receiving at the end of the year check of about $1,500. Can you imagine
Oh, wow.
that?
Yeah.
So as long as you even don't have to be citizen, all you have to do, you have to be the resident of Norway and be registered as such. And it's this is an example to United States. Hello.
So there's this Letitia James indictment for mortgage fraud. We can talk about that for us if you want. So the deal is that Trump has been going after his enemies by looking at their real estate deals. And a lot of these people end up having more than one property. They have their home, then they maybe have a condo that's an investment property or a vacation home. Or if they're like a congressperson, they might have a home in their home state and then an apartment or something in Washington, D.C. So they have a place to live in each place. And the charges claim you get a better mortgage rate if you say it's your principal residence. And the charges against these people, including Letitia James, is they got a break in interest rates by claiming more than one place is there. You can only have one place as your principal residence. And the charges say that she saved $19,000 in interest by doing this. However, her people say that when you buy a place, you sign a stack of documents about an inch thick. 18 different documents, each 4 or 5 pages. It's a lot of stuff, and it's easy to make a mistake. And so they've gone, and her stack of documents, her people claim that if there's something that indicates principal residence more than one place, there's also a note in her stack of docs where she wrote on one of the documents saying this is not my principal residence, because some of these forms are hard to fill out, and maybe she was afraid that she misread, she wasn't sure how to fill out a form, so she just hand wrote a note saying this is not. So they think this, Trump's people ran through several prosecuting attorneys who resigned or refused to take the case because they thought it was ridiculous, until he appointed one of his personal lawyers to go be the prosecutor. So a lot of people are thinking that, this case will eventually make it into a courtroom where the judge will throw it out.
Well, we'll see very soon what's happening with the Comey case. I think that one will collapse anytime. Scheduled trial, I think, sometime in January, but I think it will collapse well before that.
So, and it'll be interesting that if it collapses, if the judge imposes sanctions and makes the Trump administration pay, or the prosecutors pay, the legal fees of Comey and Letitia James.
Yeah, it would be nice to see that.
Because defending against something like this, can be 50 grand, 80 grand, because you're going to hire really good, $1,000 an hour lawyers.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the money run very quickly. It will be $100,000 in no time. Just to do all this preparation of documents, all this testimonies. It's skyrocketing.
This is just a small, ridiculous story. Pete Hegseth, the guy who wants the military to be tougher, has been using Botox to smooth his wrinkles.
Well,
they're worried about.
Sharice joining us.
And here's
Pastor
another.
Reese joined as well, maybe.
Okay, here's one more dumb story before we move to better stories. RFK Jr. keeps working out in jeans, in Levi's jeans. And this is dumb because jeans are, they're too tight to really give you good movement. But really, the reason you don't work out in jeans is the material, the denim, chews up the pads on the machines on the weight machines you're using. It makes them have to replace the seat faster. So yeah, you will get yelled at if you try working out in jeans at a gym, unless you're RFK Jr. All right, well, now we should have some serious news.
Sharif, what's going on in your world?
Yeah, many things happen. That Asia, we have a lot of people, lot of young and lot of talented peoples. Today, I just want to discuss about Bangladesh. In our countries, a lot of good things happening. Especially yesterday, we have football. So, Bangladeshi people is a big fan of footballs. So people enjoy football and cricket. In terms of economics, a lot of good things happen. Bangladesh government and authorities, they are trying to impose what we are discussing last few years about these data monetizations. And who will be the owner of data monetizations? Definitely Bangladeshi people. So we get a very good declaration from there. In some point, I also want to give thanks to Donald Trump because he bring like this peace and all of the good contract in between Israel and Palestine. As Bangladesh is a Muslim communities, many peoples actually want to support this Palestine. In terms of my issues, I want to congratulate Donald Trump through your program. Even though he stopped 8 wire around the world. And definitely my World Talent Economic Forums with my community, we live global peace. I want to give thanks and congratulate for his contribution, stopping wire. I think for his nomination, especially for his Nobel Prize nominations. Pakistan also support him. Pakistan Prime Minister also support him and nominate him for Global Peace Prize. Unfortunately, the Venezuela politicians, she win it. Maybe next time, but if I am also always criticize Donald Trump, but how he contribute for global peace and especially stopping war in between India Pakistan, stopping war in between trying to solve the problem in between Ukraine, Russia, Israel, Palestine, and all of the place. He deserves some credit, and after all of my criticize about Donald Trump, I want to give him big thanks for his contributions.
So they asked ChatGPT how many wars has Trump ended, because Trump claims 7, and it went through all the wars. You got India, Pakistan. Yes. ChatGPT says highly disputed. India has denied any U.S. role. Thailand, Cambodia, mixed, limited. Armenia, Azerbaijan, debatable. Serbia, Kosovo, disputed. Israel, Iran, he gets some credit there. Egypt, Ethiopia, weak, speculative. Rwanda, DRC, some involvement, not conclusive. So
I don't think he deserves a Nobel Peace Prize.
Well, he didn't get it. They just announced.
No. I know that.
Okay.
But what I'm saying is, even in the future, he does not deserve one, because the Nobel Peace Prize is evidently you have to enter in the names by January. And then most recent events really don't even have usually aren't considered because the Nobel Peace Prize is usually already picked. But he doesn't deserve one. And the idea that he's claiming that he stopped all these wars, he hasn't. We still don't know the outcome yet because we're only on phase 1 of the Israel-Gaza situation. We've had a pause before, and then things pick back up. So we don't know what's going on there yet. So we cannot go ahead and say, woo, we're all happy. But as this is going on, He's pepperballing priests in Portland. He's arresting and jail. So just to say, okay, well, he's helped out with this, even if peace breaks out in Israel and Gaza, they're still harming people in the U.S. So how does that? You can't square that and say he deserves a Nobel Peace Prize for this, but let's overlook the fact of what he's destroying on the other side.
Actually, one thing just I want to add, because previously many American presidents win Nobel Prize. Example, Obama. I do not know when he win Nobel Prize for Global Peace. That time, he support and continue war in Middle East. In Middle East.
He didn't win the Nobel Peace Prize either.
Yeah,
he won the Nobel Peace Prize for his inspirational speaking the year before. That's what he won the Nobel Peace Prize for. But he didn't even deserve that. He did not deserve the Nobel Peace Prize.
No, he didn't. He won it 9 months.
I just want to, there is a debate, there is argument, but I just want to give thanks his honest contributions. At least he tried as an American president. At least he contribute as an American president. Even though India deny that there is a ceasefire in between Pakistan and India, but reality with America has some sort of power. Example, in Bangladesh, in Pakistan, in South Asia or in Asia Pacific, even in Middle East, we heavily depend on US because of their military issues, right? Because of your arms industries, because of your diplomatics and business control or tariff issues. Even though he tried to utilize many things, but honestly, and that is the truth, still USA has very good control over world for controlling war and all of the things. And USA make a lot of money from the arms industries. If we see the previous record, many of the politicians strongly getting backup or support by the arms industry, but nobody actually taking all of the initiative. Even I am outsider, but I just want to give him thanks because of his, even though if he make a very small contributions, but it's meaningful. Some point it's powerful. Some point it has, USA, we cannot deny, USA has a strong control over economy and politics. And
what I'm saying is, again, I'm happy just for me pointing out the things that are going on doesn't mean that I'm not happy that there is a potential peace deal there. For example, again, what I see is that there's a man who's going in to try and save a cat from a burning house that he set on fire. Should we award the man saving the cat from the house an award from the burning house that he set on fire? Because remember, at the beginning of the year, in the beginning of his presidency, he's talked about ethnic cleansing of Gaza and the West Bank. He actually helped out with the genocidal situations that are in there because he did not even push for food aid to go through. So with the destruction and the deplorable conditions that are there, he had a hand in that. But then to turn around and say, okay, now that there's finally some type of peace push, we should give him a Nobel Peace Prize. Or
honestly speaking, I just share my views. This Nobel Prize for Global Peace, it's actually a very contradictory decision. How? Example, Bangladesh has Nobel laureate, Dr. Mohammad Yunus. Basically, he contribute for microfinance, contribute for Grameen Bank. And from my childhood, I have a strong engagement with this microfinance initiative. But when the Nobel Committee nominate him and his Grameen Bank for global peace, it's actually contradictory. What does it mean? A man contribute for economics, even though every issues has debate. I do not want to go there. Microcredit also has debate, but my objective, even though he win, even I'm criticized about Bangladesh, right? Bangladeshi Nobel laureate, because we do not like America, like we have 100 of Nobel laureate, or like Israel. No, we are very small country. So even though he win Nobel Prize for global peace, and his full contribution, his Grameen Bank full contribution for global economy or grassroots level economy, this is also some point. It's actually contradictory. But so that's why I do not know how they select, what the procedure, how they manage this point. But in that, as a very small man, general citizen, what I see and how I see the world, at least stopping war is very meaningful. Even though Donald Trump, maybe he did not do anything, only he go for a phone call. I want to appreciate him for his phone call. So that is my
Jacoby, you just gave the plot to the movie and book Endless Love. A kid is in love with a girl. The family doesn't like him. He sets fire to their porch so he can be a hero by putting it out, but he accidentally burns down their house. I have a dumb news story from yesterday, another RFK Jr. story. He announced that being circumcised, having that little hoodie snipped off the end of your dick, can make you autistic if they give you Tylenol for the pain, which is based on a bad study out of, I don't know, Finland? I don't know, some Baltic, Nordic country. And the deal is that there are papers that are mathematically and statistically sound, but there are a bunch of journals when you do some research where you can get your stuff published even though your stuff is stupid and the math behind it is bad. For instance, there are studies that show that that getting vaccinated against COVID increases mortality. You're more likely to die if you're vaccinated. And the deal is that the people who did that study were dumb, and they didn't control they were looking at two different groups of people. It turned out that the people who were getting vaccinated in the case of this study were people who had health issues already and got vaccinated because they were afraid that any little thing like COVID would kill them. So these people started off less healthy than the people who didn't get vaccinated. And anytime you look at a paper, especially the ones cited by RFK, they often have terrible statistical errors in them. And
RFK just, he pulls whatever I think it was yesterday as well during his talk where he said they're going to now do experiments to find what he believes. So in other words, the decades and half century long studies mean nothing because he's now going to do we're really in trouble there. And that all goes into why the campaign for Donald Trump to get the Nobel Prize or the Nobel Peace Prize, even this year and going into next year, doesn't make sense because we're turning a blind eye to the atrocities that he's actually doing, from now going after his political enemies and all these other things. That's like saying, hey, we're going to give the Nobel Peace Prize to Putin because he stopped invading Ukraine. That's what it just feels like to me. So
Sasha had a good plan to give him the Nobel Prize, and in return he resigns from the presidency.
I agree with that. Well, I saw somebody said that they should give him a participation trophy.
Well, he's planning on giving himself a medal, that new dollar that has his face on both sides.
Yep. Which is crazy. That's
Interestingly enough, a Norwegian Nobel Committee on Thursday, which was yesterday, bluntly stated that it had decided who will be the winner of 2025 World Peace Prize. It is due to be announced of October 10, which is today. So yesterday, they already knew it's not going to be Trump.
And in all honesty, the scary part now, because he pushed so hard to get this prize and campaigned so much, grabbing in India, trying to get India to say he needs it, trying to get Pakistan to say he needs it, trying to say have these countries say he needs it. Now that is over, what happens with these quote unquote peace deals?
Well, interestingly enough, Trump was going to go to Egypt for this peace talks, I think on Sunday or something. Now that it's obvious that he's not getting the Nobel Prize, interestingly enough, to find out if he's still going to go to Egypt or he already lost interest to all that stuff. We'll find out very soon. I wouldn't rule out that, okay, he gets today physical examination. We don't know results of it, but probably soon will. And maybe they will find something which would be a good excuse for him to cancel his trip to Egypt.
I mean, it's gonna be wild over these next few weeks, because again, we've now got him going after Letitia James. He's going to bring out a case against Adam Schiff. Those are the three people that he first listed in that tweet, or his truth. Those are going to be his first people he's going after. All cases should be thrown out based on
malicious prosecution. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, with Comey, this is the first one which will fall apart very soon. Although trial has been scheduled for, I think, January 20th or something. But there are motions, which one of them is this month, another one next month. Comey will win both motions. It's quite obvious. And all this will go, all this lawsuit, so-called, will fall apart very, very quickly. Then same thing will happen with Letitia Jones and with Adam Schiff. It's bizarre, and I wish that the judge will order some meaningful compensation for Comey and alike for this frivolous persecution.
Yeah, it's we are only we're not a year in. That's the wild part about the whole thing.
We're not even 9 months in where we've got, yeah.
It's just crazy that's yeah. Yeah. Oh, trying to think. There was because there's new shows, new science and technologies. Because I think out by you, Dr. Sharif, wasn't there there was something new that just got announced over near you, and I think it might have been in China. It was either the what was it, the reactor or something. I know they figured out there's a fungus that can eat the actual radiation dealing with Chernobyl, because they found that black fungus that's there. But there's some other stuff that got. What was that science thing that I was just looking up? I'm gonna have to find it now. We're all quiet because Mark is left.
So I'm looking it up. Okay, a radiotropic fungus.
Yes,
has been found in Chernobyl. This is a fungus that uses black pigment, melanin, to convert radioactive energy into a usable form for growth in a process called radiosynthesis. So basically, it's like this fungus gets a tan from the nuke stuff and uses it gets warmed up by capturing the radiation coming off the busted reactor.
And the wild part, though, thinking about it, because we're still trying to figure out ways to go into space, and that's a big barrier, is that the amount of radiation that they have to take in. And I'm curious if they're going to start utilizing the fungus to deal with the radiation that comes through. Because like if they're ever going to live on Mars, on the actual surface of Mars, you've got to figure out some way to deal with that.
Because you can't live on the surface of Mars, as you have to live underground in caves. Yep. Otherwise, the radiation, because we have a thing called the Van Allen belt. The Earth has a metal core that spins around that generates a magnetic field that protects most of the Earth from radiation, from hard radiation, X-rays that'll mess up your chromosomes, and so that, like the northern lights, you only get them in the north and the far south because that's radiation smacking into the Earth's atmosphere, and our magnetic field means that the dangerous radiation only hits so far north where very few people are living. But Mars, I think, is solid rock. They don't have it doesn't have a metal core, so you're not protected. So you need something. Either you have to live underground, so the rock above you can, or I guess you can paint your domes with this fungus.
So it's going to be interesting. I mean, there's that technology that's there. There was somebody else who had a experimental breakthrough
with fusion or fission.
I think with fission there was a small breakthrough that just happened. Then there was also an engine dealing with magnetics. There was a magnetic technology breakthrough.
Speaking of breakthroughs, I saw that NVIDIA is spiked again, got another rise. So I guess you made another profit, Sasha, because I did see that when I was looking through some stuff that today I think they're up a point or two. So it looks like they are doing well. So I'm assuming you're still investing in that company, even though I think I heard you say on the investment show that you're also shorting some of the stuff as well.
Not NVIDIA. You have to be brain dead to short NVIDIA. NVIDIA, in about few weeks, if not shorter, it will become first ever $5 trillion company. How about that? $5 trillion one company. This is what I'm talking on my investment show, is that there are two different U.S. economists. If you take 500, there are five stocks that make a chunk of this S&P 500 index and generate 99% of the profits of S&P 500. So my idea is you should divide, make one category S&P 500, which will include 495 stocks, and another group which will include only 5 stocks, including NVIDIA and a handful others. And that's how it's supposed to be, because when you mix the two, so it produces, of course, much less spectacular success than top 5 stocks. And 495 stocks, it's a ballast for this 5 stocks. So this 495 stocks of S&P are doing absolutely nothing. They don't generate profits, they don't contribute to American economy, and only top 5 stocks carry it all out as a spaceship.
So I looked up the China magnetics breakthrough, and China has set a world record for the strongest magnet, 700,000 times larger than the Earth's magnetic field, which is important if you're doing like a maglev train, a train that's held up by a magnetic field that doesn't touch the rails it's traveling on, which, the bigger the magnetic field, the better, because maybe you don't need to be so precise in floating that train around when the magnets are so strong.
And
also,
then you think about propulsion technology that could work off of that. That could be cool.
Well, also with fusion, you have this plasma that can eat through anything. So there's no container that can hold it's like trying to hold the sun. It's going to burn through anything. But if you could contain it in a magnetic field, then you don't have to worry about it eating through your metal containment vessel.
Yep. And so, I mean, there's just so much neat technology that's out there.
If you want to talk about technology, and I was listening yesterday to an interesting podcast. Actually, it wasn't even high tech; it was more political or economic podcast. So they were saying while the U.S. is busy with tariffs and fighting their own people, China did produce one very interesting innovation, which is the data centers. They are taking enormous amount of space and required energy, and even more important, they need a lot of energy to cool it off. So this is a very complex thing. So what China did, they developed a giant data center, which weighs 1,000 tons, and put it underwater. So it stays underwater, so it doesn't need a lot of cooling things to do it, and it's fully functioning. It's already working, and this is shows Chinese innovations and their forward thinking about things. And I don't know how much more advantage U.S. high-tech technology has over Chinese. Maybe none.
Well, we're losing a lot of that lead due to a lot of the politics, because we're running away from sciences and technologies into the arms of, hey, let's be religious and let's have power. So China is now, they focused a lot on education and technology.
That's right.
They pumped a lot of money in that industry. Sure, they still have the government that's, very it's overbearing. We'll put it lightly, but yes, they have human rights violations with the Uyghurs. They have human rights violations with some of the other individuals out in their smaller areas. But again, they pumped a lot of money into the education and technology, and they really, really gained a lot of ground. And if things continue the way they are, especially with what we have in office, they're going to surpass us quickly. They've made partnerships with the countries of Africa, or the countries in Africa. That's where a lot of the rare minerals are. You've also got stuff. You've got the partnerships with other people across the globe, and now you're allowing for them to bring in their the scientists, how we used to bring in those educational people and those scientists and all that stuff. No, we're defunding that and running away from it.
There is a problem that there are very few incentives that the U.S. can offer China, especially after the agricultural business. China completely turned down U.S. suppliers and taken all the soybeans and a lot of other crops from Canada, from Brazil, from Chile, from Argentina, from many other countries. So then what exactly, let's see if at the end of the month, as it is planned, it's still planned, but I'm not sure if it will happen, a meeting between Xi and Trump, what Trump will say, okay, let's get together, let's have a peace, let's have a... So what Trump, as a part of his offerings, what it would be?
I mean, again, we've got 4 years of losing. That's what we're up for now.
Well, 3 years, 2 months left. So yeah. I'm looking at an article from the New York Times, an opinion piece that talks about AI jailbreakers. So if you're a big AI company, you employ people who try to get the AI to do things that you don't want the AI to do, so you can make your protect, like, I assume if you ask ChatGPT, how do I kill somebody and not get caught? ChatGPT is supposed to say, I can't help you with that. That's a prohibited topic. So the AI companies employ people to try to get around the prohibitions, to get the AI to misbehave, so that they're like the sheriffs. They keep poking at it to catch AI being bad so you can stop it. And so it's an arms race between people trying to figure out how to make AI be bad and people, protecting us. And this article also mentions that some companies are starting to offer AI insurance to these AI companies, that if your AI breaks and does something bad and people sue the shit out of you, the AI insurance will help protect you against financial ruin.
I mean, again, right, as I talked about yesterday, right now in the US, AI is going to be dominated by a couple of players: Google, Microsoft, NVIDIA.
Well, there are also AMD. The stock of Oracle is doing quite well lately too. So maybe these players will be. But I think it creates almost like a bubble which will burst sooner or later. So I'm skeptical, because if you will think, what are the revenues? Oracle was claiming that they're making 70% the return on investment in this AI play. Couple of days later, they announced, we miscalculated. It's not 70%, it's only 14%. So it's a big miscalculation, to tell us the truth, for a huge public company like Oracle is to make such a claim. It's just ridiculous.
So I just looked it up, and last year companies spent $250 billion on AI, and the total spent overall in the history of AI is over $1 trillion, which is a ton of money for companies to try to recover. You're not going to recover it from people using AI to make, images of Governor Newsom riding Trump like a donkey. There's no money in that, and so there likely is a bubble, because the companies working on AI are unlikely to recover the whole $1 trillion that they've spent. And when investors fully come to that realization, they will pull back. And then we'll have 2-3 bad years of AI. And then, like with the internet, when the internet collapsed financially in 2000, 2 years after the internet bubble burst, you had Google making the internet, the thing that we use today all the frickin' time.
Also, that leads to some convoluted deals. For example, if you take this deal between Advanced Micro Devices, AMD, and OpenAI. So both companies are okay. So they're doing this business as usual. All of a sudden, they're coming with a deal that OpenAI will get delivery of data centers from AMD, which will generate for AMD revenue of $600 billion, something like that. And in this case, their shares will go up to $600. And if that's happened, then OpenAI can buy, I think it was 160 million shares of AMD, which is about 10% of the company, for a penny a share. So this is as convoluted deal as you can imagine, because in order for this deal to be consumed, certain things, and quite a few very important and most likely undoable deals, have to happen at the same time. So AMD first have to build these data centers employing so much AMD products. Where is it going to take money? Where money is coming to build
it? There's a lot of financial hocus pocus going on that reminds me of the Keating 5 scandal in 1989, where if you say you own a property, let's say an apartment house, and if you can team up with somebody and sell it back and forth between you two for $1 million more every time you sell it. So you sell your buddy the apartment house for $1 million. You buy it back for $2 million. He buys it for $3 million. And you do this enough, you end up with an apartment house that's worth $10 million, even though it's a crappy little apartment. And so these guys are passing assets back and forth, claiming they're worth more every time. And
that's a very interesting story. It's an old story. Maybe you heard about it. So probably 100 years ago, two Jews in New York City, they're meeting and asking how things are going, what's new, what's interesting. And one of them says, well, you know, I got absolutely fantastic deal. I got container of sardines, and each one cost only 15 cents. Each little box of sardines, 15 cents. So the other one was jealous and say, okay, you know what, I'll offer you a deal. I'll buy it all from you at 17 cents a piece. So the guy says, it's yours, done, okay. So next day he thinks, okay, I bought it at 17 cents, but now what? And the other guy thinks, why did I do that? Because they are much more valuable than that. So he's offering him now, buy it back at 20 cents a piece. So the other guy, oh, thank God. Okay, it's all yours. Take it, please. So next day he thinks, so what did I do? I had stuff at 15 cents, sold it at 17, bought it back at 20. So where's my money? Okay, so next day, the other guy who regrets now that he sold it, he's offering 25 cents for a box. And the other guy says, so it's all yours. Take it. Thank you very much. So he's got. So the next day they're meeting, and the other guy who bought it at 25 cents, he said, you know what? I opened one can of sardines. They're good for nothing. They're not tasty. They're horrible. So the other guy says, you're an idiot. Who told you to eat this stuff? This is to be sold, not eaten.
Yeah, there's a there's a thing called the greater fool theory.
Yeah.
When you own something, it's worth whatever you can get some idiot to pay for it.
Yep. And on that note, we're getting ready to get on out of here. We got to get ready to go to Ukraine, Russia, and China. And maybe y'all going to talk about Finland, because apparently Mr. Trump, or President Trump, was really impressed with Finland's military and all along those lines, because Ukraine, of course, has the greatest military, but he was saying that it's got a great one and mandatory service and a bunch of other things. So they were having a meeting, the Finnish president and Trump, and apparently he was really impressed with them. So maybe y'all will talk about that on the show, or maybe we'll bring it up on next week. But it was something that I did see in news coverage. Right now, we're going to get on out of here because I got to get to Ukraine show.
All right. Have a good weekend.
Yep. Do the same.
Thanks.